I went on a humanitarian expedition with Ascend Alliance to Peru. We traveled from Cusco up into the high Andes into Patabamba and Kenco, two villages nearby each other. And it's like traveling back in time. Everything's done by hand, all your work, everyone's walking everywhere they go. It was very, very neat to be in such a special place. They set up a medical clinic that the people lined up to come and go to see a doctor, and also in our group was a dentist, and we set up a little dental clinic where people could come that needed help, and I helped with sterilizing the equipment for the dentist. And we had Spanish speakers and also the native speakers and translators to help. It was a good experience. And after the clinic was done, I had brought down fleece jackets that had been donated, and we met at the school to give to each school's child a warm fleece jacket. And in that high altitude, it was really nice to give each one of them something warm and interact with the darling children there. It was a good day, and villagers came together with a performance with music and dancing of folk dances, and everyone was there side by side. The community, the volunteers that had come from Cusco, and the volunteers in our group that had come from the U.S., and we were all there side by side enjoying a festival together, enjoying their culture and having a fun time interacting. And it was a very good feel of community spirit, and we felt a part of their community, and the interesting folklore that was brought out in the performances. The children were really just darling. It was a good opportunity that everyone enjoyed. After the community performance, we were able to stay in the village. Our group went over and stayed at Faustino's. Right near his home, he has a few rooms that he lets us stay in, and his wife did the cooking for us, and it was a really fun experience to meet their children and really just live right in with them and feel a part of them and what they were doing. And their little boy was just darling. We had fun interacting with him. He was always following us around wherever we went. The next morning when I woke up, it was crisp, and it was that crisp air, clear morning sunshine. I was up earlier than the group and went walking through the village to get a feel of where I was. There's an aqueduct that runs through from the river that brings water to everyone. They come with a bucket to fill. And there was a little boy getting water there, I assume, for his mom to bring back. And he invited me back to his house. And I followed him back to his home and stood at the gate while I got his mom, and she invited me in. And she got a sweatshirt, and she rolled it up and put it on a large stone so I could sit and watch her weave, which is her activity daily and brings income to her family. And it was so interesting to watch and hear as she had her llamas right there in the yard, and they provide the materials for the weaving, and they take that alpaca yarn and they spin it. You can see the women in the village walking around, each one spinning all the time. They take natural plants and get the colors from it, and they're all natural dyed. And then they take that and put it on a weaving loom that they create and work on that daily. Very intricate patterns. And as I watched her concentrate and work on her project, she was quite an artist, and it was very fun to watch her fingers move so quickly over the strings, just like a guitarist playing a familiar tune, as she put together this pattern that's been passed down for ages. And she brought her daughter in to weave with her. She said her daughter started weaving when she was 8, and she starts her own smaller projects of her own, and she works right by her mom with she was making a belt that I brought home with me, purchased from her. The women all gather together every day in a community area to weave together, and it's a good place for income for them, and they have a little market that they can sell their weavings. And as I was sitting there talking with this wonderful woman in her home, we talked about our children, and we started to bond over that we each had families that we cared for and children that we nurtured. And I started looking at the similarities, not just the differences of our lives, and realized there's, in different ways, we're similar. The gathering of food for families, working hard to do that, bringing the food together and cooking for guests, for your family, taking care to make a good meal. Her father would come by in the mornings for a meal. He was elderly, wonderful gentleman, but kept his independence. But he'd come by for meals prepared by her. And the more I thought about her life and mine, I made a connection that was very interesting, and we both really about the same things of wanting great things for the people around us. I watched as the villagers washed their clothes in the river, and was struck by the fact that she had her clothes soap there and hung things out on the line, and started to feel a closeness with all of the women in the village, and saw as they cared for the different livelihoods that could make a difference for their family. And it struck me what hard workers they were, carrying a baby on your back, or lots of walking, lots of physical labor. But yet each woman kept individuality, as she had a little slip of lace that showed, that kept her own personality and femininity to it. They all seemed to wear the same shoes, the men and the women, that but no socks. Always, I thought, was interesting in such a cold place. But the experience that I had meeting and connecting with the people was somewhat magical. And the universality of women around the world is, and the idea that, of this connection, is something that I'll keep close and really cherish. It was a wonderful experience.